Welcome back to the Animaniacs Volume 2 DVD. I'm your host, Maurice LaMarche, and today we're going to be talking with the writers who gave these characters a voice. We'll be discussing everything from how they came up with the characters to their favorite episodes, along with some never-before-told tales from behind the scenes. Let's introduce our first group. From left to right, Paul Rugg, Sherry Stoner, John McCann, and Peter Hastings. Our second group, Charlie Howell, Gordon Bressack, Earl Kress, and Tom Minton. And our third group, Randy Rogel, Nicholas Hollander, executive producer Tom Ruger, and Deanna Oliver. What were each of you doing before you came to Animaniacs?
Almost all of us came out of performing. I knew Sherry and Deanna from the Groundlings. We did sketch comedy and improv, and John and Paul also performed together in the Acme Comedy Theater.
I'll take credit for this. I hired all these guys.
That's true. Sherry.
Well, we turned on her the first chance we got.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like working on Animaniacs?
The format of the show was so free. You know, it wasn't, we weren't really there to tell compelling stories. It was really had this kind of a feel of a sketch comedy show. Yeah. The cartoons were different lengths, and they could be this, and you could do a real story. You could recite the Star Spangled Banner, or you could parody a commercial, or you could do all these kind of things. And we had this tremendous freedom and the talent to back it up.
Beat it, you mouse! You're ruining my cameo.
Your cameo? Hey, what about our cameo, huh?
Ah, quit your whining over there.
Hey, who you telling to quit whining?
She's talking to you.
I ain't whining.
Yeah, yeah, now quit it.
I'm not whining. You're whining.
Are we getting paid? Come, Pinky. Let us return to the story.
That was another, really amazing thing, and I don't know who was the champion of this or how we got away with this, but we would have the main characters together.
Record together.
Wacko, Yakko, and Dot would be together. Pinky and the Brain would be together. I mean, it was a very rare occasion where the actors didn't get to play against each other.
Hey, does George Hamilton know your tan's better than his?
Silence! I don't want to hear another peep from you. Stop peeping!
Where did Yakko, Wacko, and Dot come from?
You know, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot are like in the tradition of Jerry Lewis and the Marx Brothers, and they're, you know, these crazy people who enter a serious situation and, you know, wreak havoc.
Welcome to You Risk Your Life. Say the secret word and Wacko will hit you on the head with a mallet.
Today's secret word is yes.
And Aristotle, let's see here. It says you are a philosopher, is that correct?
Yes.
You would find yourself being surprised by something Yakko would say, and it would take the script in 180 degrees. And I think that's because the characters became so strong that sometimes you didn't really know where the script was going to go. But you knew it was going to be crazy.
All right, Sybil, who am I speaking to now?
We insist that you stop this. You people are crazy.
Look who's talking.
You know, it occurs to me that if Yakko Wacko Dot came and saw this happening, they wouldn't put up with this. They would be spilling it and spilling over the table because this sort of hey, listen to us talk and stuff. They didn't like this sort of thing, just so you know.
Then in '57, I made Kiki the Sickly Lemur. Would you like me to talk about it? Well, all right. Kiki had no torso.
We're free, free, free!
Were there any stories that you guys had that came out of your relationships with each other?
We felt like a team, you know what I mean? Trying to work together to make stories better. So like you were saying, that we would go to each other for different story ideas. Like with the Three Musketeers, like I was working away on that, and I had just absolutely no idea how to end it. And you came up with that they just sort of...
Sheila McRae.
The Viper!
The Viper!
The Viper!
Yeah, I'm Davindo Viper. I vipe Davindos.
Thank you. That's our show. Now let's meet today's cast. Playing the king, Sheila McRae.
I can tell you one thing about Slappy. You don't have to use this, but you know that you're responsible for coming up with her. Do you know that?
Oh, what?
Do you remember?
Yeah, we used to kid you about your movie of the week.
Yeah. Years and years ago, I used to be an actress, and I would be in these just TV movies of the week, where I played all different kinds of teens in trouble, that sort of thing. And we've been friends forever, and so we used to joke.
I used to, I'd say, you're going to be 55, and you're still going to be playing these teenage kids, and oh dear, I've run away from home. I've run away from home, and I'm here on the streets of Hollywood. What'll I do now? It's looking exactly like she does now.
Diet soda. Gotta watch my figure. Hey, somebody's gotta watch it.
I heard there's a personal story behind I Got Your Can, Sherry.
Yeah, we'd just moved into a new house, my husband and I, and and I was writing at night, as I frequently do, and I had to get some air, so I was sort of pacing up and down the block. So I was drinking this Diet Coke, and I was pacing, trying to come up with the story, and it was trash day, so I just put it in this lady's trash can, who was our neighbor. Then when I passed by again, she goes, "Excuse me, that's my trash can."
Excuse me?
You're excused.
Would you mind?
Probably. Look, I ain't interested in Amway, lady, all right?
Would you mind removing your can from my trash receptacle?
Ellen Funt is a dead man.
And so I had to get the can out of the trash can, and so then it just occurred to me that would be a Slappy cartoon where the can I would torment her with the can.
Do you have a problem with that?
No, but now you do.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
What was your personal favorite episode?
I mean, for me, most of my favorite episodes are Pinky and the Brain episodes, as that's what I wrote. The first one was Win Big, which was the story where they go on the game show. And I remember when it came time to do a second one, and I remember talking to Sherry, and I think I had written the second one, and then she said, well, where's the thing about, are you pondering what I'm pondering or something? All these things that are the catchphrases.
Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
Well, I think so, Brain, but we'll never get a monkey to use dental floss.
No, Pinky.
Completely unintentionally, all those things became the, catchphrases for that.
Right.
And then Sherry took that and hit the home run of Bubba Bobop Brain. Yes.
The home run.
The home run of Bubba Bobop Brain.
Now, Bubba Bobob Brain for us, I remember feeling that we'd really hit our stride with that one. So take the compliment, Sherry. He's giving you a compliment. It was a very special episode, and it was the one that I think the two characters really hit their stride.
But you will respect me, yes, once my plan is unfurled. You will call me your leader, I'll be king of the world. Now, Pinky, you are under my control. You will do whatever I say.
I will do whatever he says.
Way to go, Blubber Boo Bean Brain!
Enough.
The luxury of writing Bubba Bobob Brain, which you would not have today, is that, for instance, he sort of sits next to a character on a talk show that is sort of like Dolly Parton.
Here's Bubba Bobob Brain.
I'm your biggest fan. What do you say to that?
I'd say puberty was inordinately kind to you.
Go on.
We had a lot of freedom in terms of doing, spoofing things and doing parody and stuff like that, which generally, you find that people don't want to do that, or they're just so completely frightened of doing it that, you can't.
How much of a difference did it make having that great Warner Brothers orchestra, 40-piece orchestra?
The music for this series is so fantastic, and Richard Stone, who's the music director for the show, who wrote most of the music, and along with Steve and Julie Bernstein and some other talented composers, got to work with this idiom, which was a 40-piece orchestra in the tradition of Carl Stalling, on the same stage, on the same lot, with the same piano, and it was just huge. It was a huge, huge sound.
punctuate a joke that wasn't necessarily that funny.
Yeah, and make it work.
And make it work.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen, Ben Vereen, shrink to the size of a lima bean. No good will come of this.
You come home and work, your jaws hurt from laughing all day. And it was, haven't been a lot of places like that since.
No, we're here to tell you, it's not like that.
It's not a funny business.
Yeah. And what's
I think it's because we're old.
yeah.
Hey,
But what's
speak for yourself.
All right.
But I mean, that was John and I's first, job. I mean, my first job was Animaniacs, and then having done other things, I'm like, wow, that was not the real world. You had, like Peter said, the 40-piece orchestra, just no treatments, no outlines, write whatever you want. Gilbert and Sullivan, you go write it, because kids love that stuff. And but we never asked that question: are kids going to watch it, or are they not? It was exactly what we thought was funny.
Now I'd like you to meet our next group. From left to right, Charlie Howell, Gordon Bresack, Earl Kress, and Tom Minton. Before you came to write on Animaniacs, what were you doing?
The four of us really came from a cartoon background, and the other people came from, a lot of the other writers came from an improv background. Gordon, you have some theater background. I did some improv training, but really our background...
But we weren't hip, you see. We weren't the hip people.
We came from doing cartoons.
I'm just going to shout out some episode titles, and if you've got a story, speak up. This one's for Gordon and Charlie. Broadcast Nuisance.
We actually broke things writing it.
Yes. The point, we were being troublemakers. We were considered troublemakers within the unit at that time.
They wouldn't let us in the building.
And so our writing reflected that.
Lunchtime.
Lunchtime?
We're from Salmonella's coffee shop. Eat our food and you're bound to drop. Then the only thing that's left to do, head to the potty and spew, spew, spew. Salmonella's.
And then sometimes, we just want to get some silly joke in, like, here are today's headlines.
And now, tonight's Newstime Live headlines.
Not those headlines, these headlines. But first, our forecast. Large pointy things here, followed by big fluffy gray things here. Isn't video technology keen? Ooh.
And yes, we will throw in the occasional pun.
Who has the tongue on a bun? All right, who's the ham on rye?
That's me.
Just remember, you said that, we didn't.
You had Steve Allen come on and go, schmack, schmack. Yeah, which I loved. He went hip show.
It was a hip show.
Well, my favorite celebrity that we used, although he wasn't caricatured in it, was we had Eric Idle play Pinky's father and his mother.
Yeah.
That was another episode that won us the Emmy.
Yeah.
We were nominated for an Emmy for writing the stirring lyrics. I'm Pinky, all alone, and it's stinky. Which took hours, I think, to come up with. Oh.
Tom Minton. Who do you remind me of? The Pinky and the Brain episode, Puppet Rulers. Talk a little about the genesis of that episode.
Puppet Rulers I liked because, well, it went from the 50s all the way into the 90s, the idea of cryogenics, everything.
Quick, Pinky. Our cryogenic capsule awaits.
But Vane, why are we freezing ourselves at the height of our popularity?
To stay fresh in their memory, Pinky, we must, to paraphrase Milton Berle, leave them wanting more. See you in the future, Pinky, when tomorrow's leaders will give us the world.
And there was something we knew about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein's favorite show had been, of all things, Beanie and Cecil, the puppet show.
Uncle Albert, it's time.
But kiddies, Uncle Albert's doing an experiment, and did you say it's time?
Hey, kids, what time is it?
It's time for me!
The real Einstein would say, it's time for Beanie. I'd drop whatever he was doing in the 50s and watch that show every day, 15 minutes, no matter what he was doing. Amazing.
Eat smoke, you dirty lamprey!
Cut it out, meanie.
I love Treacle. I wish Minnie and Treacle was president.
The idea of going to Hope, Arkansas, I put that in there with the young Bill Clinton watching it and being inspired by it.
I'd like to buy these, please. Thank you. Here.
And I know other Americans join with me in saying, Ich bin ein Nudelnoggin.
The great thing about Pinky and the Brain was you could take any absurd situation and you could put those two characters in it. And Brain, with your brilliant performance, Mo, is so needy. He just, you know, you just feel how he just needs the recognition. And it drives those stories, and that's what makes any Pinky and the Brain episode work.
But first, we shall travel back to the primordial era, alter the course of evolution, and then return to the present to a world dominated not by humans, but by mice. And they shall choose me as their leader.
Eat that brain! Brilliant! Oh, wait, no. Why would I pick you?
Because I'm very likable.
And Brain, in terms of what he does and his drive, is really the more childish. He's the one who has to get what he wants.
And has unreasonable...
and throws tantrums. Mm-hmm. And Pinky really ends up being the supportive character between the two in that relationship.
Zounds! I guess I saved you, Brain.
Actually, Pinky, that woolly mammoth was the only thing keeping the saber-toothed tiger at bay.
You know, everybody says when you make cartoons for a living, everybody always says, oh, that must be fun. Isn't that fun to make cartoons? And Warner Brothers, during that period, was the one time where I could honestly respond to that and say, yes.
Yes! I must release my conflicting issues and learn to love me.
Talking about this show wouldn't be complete without our third group of writers, from left to right: Randy Rogel, Nicholas Hollander, executive producer Tom Ruger, and Deanna Oliver. What made the atmosphere for the writers in Animaniacs so creatively free?
For many of us, this was as creative a situation as we could imagine. It was a treat to come in and work on these things, and then within a few months start really seeing them come to life. And then we also had the pleasure of going to all the recording sessions, and they really came to life then. You know, Deanna would write an entire musical, so would Nick. I mean, these three crazy cats, they wrote a lot of musicals.
There's a sense of humor, a sense of humor, a sense of awe, a sense of timing.
The sense of a word, a sense of absurd, like trying to do all this rhyming.
A sense of dread as we're singing this song, and it's starting to turn out completely all wrong, and it's time that we end it because it's too long. Cause it just doesn't make any sense. Nonsense. The song doesn't make any sense.
You could throw out any idea. You could pitch anything. It was just the most creative time of my life. I don't know about you guys.
You kidding me?
No, you could go in there. I went in there with thousands of ideas, most of which were rejected, but
Thousands,
some stuck.
thousands.
Okay, I went in there with 2 ideas, and half of them were thrown out, but the one that stuck stayed forever. Shut up.
Which one was that?
Chicken Boo.
Chicken Boo. I think the first week we were developing anything to do with Animaniacs, Deanna said, I got this great idea. It's about a big chicken, and he doesn't really think he's a chicken. He's like human size, and no one, when he wears a disguise, no one really realizes he's a chicken. But then when he takes the disguise off, they all say, hey, you're a chicken, and they kick him out of town. And I'm saying, what?
He did it!
He's a chicken!
What was the episode you started with, the one that got you hired?
I think my first one was Wacko's Gloves, or White Gloves, and I think that was the cause of a lot of riff, because Wacko was kind of like, he thought he was a starring role, and well, it's all about his gloves, and I think Rugg perpetuated it. I think Rugg and Wacko started talking about, you know, Hollander didn't want to write because Hollander doesn't like your acting, and Hollander's this and Hollander's that. But it's not true. With the gloves, the gloves are very, very, very...
So Randy Rogel comes on board over from Batman, where they had no musical numbers whatsoever. And he kind of shakes things up a bit. Tell us about that.
He moved into the office next door to mine, and I had to go to a dentist, and he did a root canal. Long story short, he left the drill bit in my head, you know, up here in my face.
That explains a lot.
I was very grouchy. So he moves a piano. He orders a piano, a real full-size piano, into his office. So I'm sitting there miserable trying to write music. The walls are this thin. The piano was bigger than his office. I didn't even know how they got it in
And when
there.
you open the door, my door would go clunk. Then you have to squeeze through.
So I'm writing, "Wait, can you hear the poodle sing, barking the barks of angry dogs? Boom, 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 boom," from next door. And then I said, "Who is that man with the piano?"
Well, you couldn't really talk because you had the
I know.
bit in your mouth.
Right like this. "Who's the man with the piano?"
Where did the Great Wackarati come from?
The Great Wackarati was a sampling of Moe's incredible burping prowess.
Belch.
And then we had the good fortune of being able to take those burps and assign them sort of qualities and note qualities, and then with a synthesizer raise them in pitch, and thus the musical stylings of the Great Wackarati.
Tell me a little about Katie Kaboom. What is the deal with Katie Kaboom?
Katie Kaboom. All right, yeah, this is definitely from Nick's life.
In my life, I had a stepdaughter, have a stepdaughter, who was going through that phase of that hormonal blossoming where she could be just so prissy, and suddenly something irks her and she would just go off.
I told you he was a chicken.
He's not a chicken. Katie, darling, we're only trying to protect you from getting hurt.
You never like my friends. You never like anyone I like.